Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my Project Pan products and how I'm making progress with them. I don't have like a really strict measuring system. I know a lot of people like to measure kind of where they think the foundation is and how it's kind of dropping as time goes by. I know people weigh things, if it's like an eyeshadow palette or individual singles and things like that. I don't really do it. I just kind of take notice and see if I'm using things up. There's a couple of things, I guess, in here that I have gotten a lot of progress on, other things not so much, but I'm just gonna do kind of like a quick full face using the things from my Project Pan, and then throughout I'll kind of explain if I'm getting use out of it, if I'm really liking things, if I'm not really finding myself reaching for things that are in my Project Pan. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so my first step in my kind of full face routine is my sunscreen. So I've been using the e.l.f. Beauty Shield. This is an SPF. It has SPF of 50 and it's supposed to be like a tinted moisturizer. I don't like the color of this. I think they should have more shades in their range because this is the only one, and it's kind of like a weird mid-tone color with like a gray kind of undertone. It's not very flattering, and I don't think that a lot of people would find that this is a good like match for them. However, I do use this kind of mixed in with my foundation to sheer out things, to make things a little bit lighter, or you know, just basically as a base layer. So if I really am finding that like one of my foundations that I'm using for the day is really sheer, I will put this all over and then just put that foundation on top. If I'm using something a little more fuller coverage, or I'm using like a concealer that I'm mixing in that's pretty obviously heavy coverage, I'll just kind of mix the two together either on my face or on my hand and then kind of dab it all over. So I do really like this. I think that it does kind of help to keep my makeup where it should be, and I do like that it has SPF 50 because I'm really bad about kind of putting on a separate sunscreen. So this is really nice for helping me to kind of incorporate that every day. I think I'm getting a lot of progress out of this. You can't really tell because it's like a shiny bottle with like this weird thick layer of coating on the outside where it has all the writing. It's weird because you can see at the bottom here, I don't know, focus, it's kind of rubbing off. But you can tell in the bottom as you use this, the bottom kind of lifts up. So you can see I'm probably around here or so, and yeah, it is hard to tell where I am with this, but I know I'm getting a lot of use out of it because I'm using it almost every single day that I'm doing my makeup. So this is what we're gonna start with, and I'm quickly just gonna go through my base and then I'll talk about my foundation and concealer. Okay, so I'm back. I have my foundation on. If you watch my Project Pan like initiation video, or like when I explained which Project Pan products I was gonna use, you know that I chose the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Matte Foundation. Now this is not my ideal foundation by any means. It's matte, which I don't tend to like. It's very full coverage, which I also don't tend to like, but I do like how long it lasts. I do like the way, if it's sheared out properly and kind of altered, I do like the way it looks on my face. So again, like I mentioned, I usually use this and kind of mix the two together to get a more sheer version of this. So I won't use as much as I kind of would anticipate needing if I was using like a sheerer foundation. I will use probably like half of what I would typically use. And then mix it in with that moisturizer, and that does a really nice job. It's not too heavy looking. This is a pretty good shade match for me. It's a little on the cool tone side, or like more neutral leaning even, because I have very strong yellow undertones. So it's not the perfect match, but you know, with Fenty's shade range, I'm sure they have one that's potentially even closer, but I got this, you know, I think I bought it online. So that's what that's looking like. My concealer that I chose out was the Tarte Shape Tape. This is my original bottle of Tarte Shape Tape. It's way too old, and so I'm trying to get use out of it. It hasn't like changed texture. It doesn't smell weird. Probably because like at a certain point I just stopped using it and I didn't open it for like quite a while, so it was probably just, you know, chilling, waiting for me to start using it again. But with the way that this looks, my skin right now, it's plenty matte, it's plenty, I have plenty of coverage. I tend to like pretty lightweight skin finishes or dewy finishes, so I don't really want to add any more product on. I did already do my eyebrows. I used the I've been pulling out my Dip Brow actually. I haven't used Dip Brow in quite a while, so they're looking a little thick, but they're not too bad. When I first bought Dip Brow, when I was like very first getting into makeup and like eyebrow products and like doing stuff to my eyebrows looked way worse than this, so we'll take what we can get. Quickly, I am going to do my cheek stuff. So in my project pan, I mentioned that I was going to try and use up, or at least get more use out of, these Pixi Multi Balms. I have the shade Baby Petal, which is kind of like a pinky rosy nude, and the color Watermelon Veil, which is like a hot pink, so I can swatch these for you. Okay, so that's what they look like, and obviously when you blend them in, they get they're more sheer and kind of stain like. I really like these. I just don't really reach for them. So those are my blushes. My bronzer is this Prime and Stay Finishing Powder by e.l.f. I've kind of been going back and forth. I have so many bronzers in my collection that I don't tend to gravitate towards this one as much as I should. You can see I have Major Pan in there, but that's kind of been there for a while anyway. So I'm going to use that. And then I don't remember whether or not I picked out a highlighter, so I'm just going to use this one to kind of go with the cream blushes. This is a more new one in my collection, and it's actually something that I just kind of picked up on a whim, I think, to get like free shipping, and I was like, it's $1, why not? This is the AOA Studio Dewy Cream Highlighter. I don't think there's like a shade name on here. Oh wait, I think it's in the shade Silk. It just kind of looks like this, and I really like this. This is kind of like an unexpectedly insanely beautiful product. It is very emollient. You can swatch it there. It's a very creamy, but there's no shimmer, there's no glitter. It's just like glow and dew on your skin. So I'm gonna quickly zoom you in again. Oops. There we go. And just start applying these. The addition of those cream products on top of this very matte base, it kind of brings more life and skin-like texture back to everything. Let me zoom out. You don't need to be that close. Yeah, so that's what it's looking like. I do really love those cream blushes. I like them because they're not so thin. They do blend out. It does take, you know, some effort and some elbow grease to kind of blend them out, but once you get them blended, they do last a really long time because they're more of a dry cream formula. They're not super emollient, not super slidey. I do like the new Fenty cream blushes. I bought one in the shade Rose Latte, which is like the deeper neutrally one. I do like that one because it does have that kind of thin emollient texture, but it does stay really well, which is not kind of like a formula that I see a lot. I find with a lot of thinner cream products, they tend to just slip and slide even if you set your face, and I don't really like to set my face. So I do kind of prefer a either a thicker cream or something that's more on the dry side so that I know it's going to stay there kind of long term. Okay. So now I'm going to prime my eyes. I'll zoom you in once again. We'll do an eyeshadow look with the two palettes that are part of my project pan. Okay, so if you don't remember or didn't watch my initial video, the two palettes that I picked out for my project pan are the ColourPop So Jaded palette, which looks like this. I rearranged mine just because if I do have the option to rearrange a palette, I like to go ahead and do that because a lot of times, especially with bigger palettes like these, the colors just tend to kind of be popped in at random and the color story doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I like to kind of change it up, put light similar colors in rows, and then I can kind of see easier what is within the palette. And then the second one is the what's this called? The Urban Decay Born to Run palette, which is more of a neutral palette. The other one is so kind of colorful and it has really unique tones and textures that I wanted to get more use out of this because it does have those more neutrally kind of staple basic colors in here, and then some deeper kind of jewel toned colors. So there's not a whole lot of color or variety in this palette, at least in my opinion. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I really like bold, intense colors, shimmers, textures, blah blah blah. So this is kind of like a neutral palette in my eyes. It's very toned down and muted. I know a lot of people think this is more of a colorful palette if they're more into neutrals, but you know, to each their own. This is kind of like an everyday neutral palette for me, and even then I don't really, even though I have been trying to reach for it more, I do find that it's still difficult for me because a lot of these colors, while I will say that like this whole top row is very useful and like this little quad over here, all these shimmers don't really inspire me, I guess, because they're all that kind of really smooth, basic, like metallic formula, whereas I really gravitate towards like really shimmery and glittery shimmers. You know, I want my shimmer to have dimension and sparkle and things like that, so I don't find myself reaching for the metallics in this palette as much, but the mattes are really, really nice. They blend well, they layer well, and then if I want something more interesting in terms of tone and shimmer, this is kind of where I reach for. So I'm going to zoom you in, I'll prime the eyes, and we'll do a quick look. I'm back. I have kind of like a blue and green smoky eye thing going on, and I'll just quickly talk about the palettes. I said most of what I had to say about this before, but essentially these shimmers, they don't do much for me. I like the neutrally shimmers because I can use them as like brow bone highlights and things like that, but these like deeper kind of jewel tone shimmers that are very kind of one-dimensional, just smooth metallics, it's really not my preferred formula. I like something glittery and even kind of on the chunkier side, so I don't get a whole lot of use out of these. I do have some pretty good dips going on, mostly again in those neutral mattes and stuff, because I know Urban Decay does do more textured shimmers. They have them in some of their naked palettes and things like that, so I think if they would have included more sparkly shimmers in this palette, it really could have taken it to the next level. As for the So Jaded palette, I love this thing. I love the my kind of arranged version of it, because it allows me to see things more clearly, but I do love the tones in this palette. The shimmers are really nice. ColourPop just knows how to do good mattes and shimmers and things like that. I don't really use the two pressed glitters in here, but I have used them, I think, once each. They're okay. I just, you know, pressed glitters aren't super popular with, I don't think anybody. I feel like whenever anybody's talking about a palette and there's pressed glitters, it's seen as like a negative. I'm kind of neutral on them. I don't really care for them, but it's not gonna like detract or take away my feelings on a palette. And I do really like this one Super Shock shadow that they have in here, and I wish they would do this more. But I love the colors, I love the tones. The ColourPop formula is always really great, so it's just a good palette. I think there's a lot in there that it offers. And the details of this look will be posted on my Instagram probably in a couple weeks, although I'm not sure when this video is going up anyway. So, okay, and lastly for my kind of roundup, there's two things. I think I talked about this. This was the ColourPop Amber Crystal Setting Spray. I have basically used this completely up. So I also used up the ColourPop Ultra Glossy Lip in the shade Saddle Up, which is a nice bright coral. Love this lip gloss formula, and I have actually moved in the Ultra Glossy Lip also by ColourPop in the shade Flying Horses, which is what I have on right now. It's kind of like a mauve-y, purpley pink, and as you can see, I do have a good bit of progress going on this as well. So that is everything. I'm looking forward to continuing to use these products, hopefully use some more things up, and I'll probably be back at the end of the year with a final update, and then we'll switch products out and around. But if you like this video, if you want to see more from me, I have a bunch of things on my video to-do list, so hopefully those will be coming to you soon. But go ahead and like and subscribe if you did like. If you didn't, hit it with a dislike. Let me know. I am all for constructive criticism to a point. So that's everything. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.